Thank you for tuning in to your boy Who Did It This Time's channel. And we're on part 7 of Oh How They Forgot. I cannot believe we're already on 7 parts. Man, all praises to the Most High. We're going to start off though with talking about the guy that they call Steve Francise. Stevie Francise. Ladies and gentlemen, you all have no idea how electrifying this guard was. Playing in an era where there was still a pretty decent Alonzo Mourning, a deteriorating Patrick Ewing, a dominant Shaquille O'Neal, Dikembe was still around. Then you had power forward heaven. This was in 99, 2000. He was the second pick in the 1999 draft. And he went to Vancouver and he wasn't really feeling that. But nevertheless, his competition at that time with all of the guys that was crowding the paint, if y'all understand basketball, he would blow past most 2s and 3s and then be able to elevate over, around, and even sometimes through some of the power forwards and centers. This is the difference between that era and now this era. Steve Francise is a victim of being born just a little bit too early. I think he had a pretty decent career. I mean, for those of us who remember. But if he was born, let's say maybe 10 years later, and he was playing in this era, how good would Steve Francise be? You know, they talk about D Rose and Russell Westbrook, John Wall. Rightfully so, Dame Lillard, all them guys are special, man. They're spectacular. And then obviously, you know, even with the new blood coming in with the Steph Curry, even though Steph's around Russell Westbrook's age, and just, you know, all of these fast, electrifying, high jumping guards, hybrids, even like the young man Ja Morant down there in Memphis. But please don't forget Steve Francise. And I'm a victim of that too, getting caught up in the moment and only thinking about Zeke and Allen Iverson. Look, Steve Francise was listed at 6'3", but if you look at these clips closely, peak max 6'2". And now remember, they're starting to measure guys without shoes. So I'm thinking he's about a good 6'1 and a half, 6'2". But the boy used to climb. I'm talking Michael Jordan type stuff for his height. And I think that we all can vouch that he made some off the court decisions that got him in a lot of trouble. But if you study his childhood coming from Tacoma, Maryland, I believe it is. Don't quote me. You brothers can do some research. I always tell you to back my stuff up. I don't want to seem like I'm being fraudulent. But he came from a pretty dysfunctional background. I know he lost his mother in 95 right before he came to Maryland, which when he came to Maryland, he was a dog. But he had lived in an apartment complex where he shared, I want to say, shared an apartment complex, with 18 people. I watched Beyond the Glory with this cat, man. He had it rough, and then he did the JUCO route, which I always tell young men to possibly look forward to doing that, because if you don't, you know, you can find yourself being a Prop 48 or having to sit out. Everyone's not ready for the college level, and that doesn't always have anything to do with athletics. Sometimes it has a lot to do with social and just the way you was raised. But nevertheless, man, Steve Francise was amazing. And I do believe if he was playing in this era, this is not a slight on anybody, but without no big man, and most of your big men want to be regular sized guards, oh, he's dunking on these guys. And as far as, you know, them athletic guards that I mentioned the first couple of minutes with Russ, D Rose, John Wall, oh, he fits that criteria. He's just as athletic, maybe even more athletic than them. We'll never know. I don't like always playing the what if games, but with young men like him, It just makes you wonder. So, with that being said, man, Steve Francis, you will never be forgotten, and I believe in giving you your roses while you're here.
Right, my man. Fuck, you kidding me?
And he's the one that drafted Bynum, so he's not gonna let him go.
Fucking ship his ass up. You talking about Jason Kidd, but he didn't want to do that.
They think Andrew Bynum's gonna be.
So now we sit here in this fucked up position.
What's Andrew Bynum's potential? Honestly.
No, man.
I'll start.
Mitch Country though. Mitch Country had the nerve to ask this.
Next topic at hand. A great one. Kobe Bryant wanting Jason Kidd. Kobe Bryant wanting Jason Kidd? Yeah, that happened, fellas and ladies. What you guys don't remember is, and I shouldn't say that everyone doesn't remember, but a lot of people forget, the Chris Paul Knicks from the league, from the late David Stern, was a travesty to most Laker fans at that time. We felt that Kobe had got blackballed, and it was just a bunch of BS, man, behind it. And we're all correct to this day, as I just found out some news about Kawhi Leonard and the Clipper organization being tampered with or being investigated by some guy. But I say that to say that it wasn't just the Chris Paul Knicks. Do you all remember when Kobe wanted Jason Kidd? First, he was being possibly dealt for Jason Kidd and another player. Phil wanted Jason Kidd, but what's crazy is a couple years later, Kobe wanted to ship Andrew Bynum out for Jason Kidd. Now we play the what if game. Yes, I do believe those two would have been very, very in sync on both offense and defense, and they would have hung up at least 2 banners. Because at the time, before Chris Paul and Darren Williams came into the league and started to kind of change things up, Jason Kidd and Gary Payton, whatever order you have them in, were the best point guards in the game on both offense and defense. As my man HD says, back when we was watching the game, there wasn't no best two-way player. That's basketball. This isn't football. So when you play in the NBA, you would think you play on the opposite side of the court. But that's another topic, Once again, whatever happened to defense. If you get a chance, watch that video. But the Lakers was trying to get Jason Kidd. Now what's crazy is, now looking in hindsight, was Andrew Bynum really worth it? I believe the Most High makes no mistakes. So if he didn't want it to be, it wouldn't have been. And I say this to you all. Kobe got 2 out of 3 rings with Andrew Bynum and fell short a couple times. And the last I remember Andrew Bynum, pardon me for laughing, was when he elbowed and he cleaned JJ Barea's rib cage. But if he'd have had Jason Kidd, who was on that team that eliminated Kobe, and then later on they defeated the Heatles, I'm telling y'all, they would have made noise, man. Because Kobe would have been able to play off the ball more, and Jason Kidd would have been able to run the ship. And then on defense, certain times Jason Kidd would have been able to play the bigger guard, and Kobe would have been able to harass the smaller guards, or vice versa. Then he's just another guy on the court that Kobe would trust. He would be a brain trust. You got Phil Jackson as a coach, along with Jason Kidd and the late Kobe Bryant. Man, they would have been a triangle offense just off the rip. So I say to everyone, don't get so caught up into everything that the media tells you right in the present. We can always go back in the past and dissect, and then have these fruitful debates where we can talk about the past and compare it to the now. And the same foolishness that was going on back then is happening now. We're hearing about the Clippers being investigated, which is just crazy, man. I mean, we know who's orchestrating it, and we know who's sending the dogs out. Silver, 2 scoops, and a twist is listening to the Woke King. And I don't know, man. I don't know when the antics will stop. But back then, when we heard about Andrew Bynum trade for Jason Kidd, as Kobe said in that clip, F yeah. Yeah, I would do it right away. Now, a lot of people looked at Kobe like he was a sucker. And again, Kobe got 2 rings with Drew. But I feel like they would have been able to have greener pastures, and more importantly, they would have started winning championships, or at least playing at a higher level right away, because it's not even a question who has the higher IQ, which will obviously be Jason Kidd. You could have put Pau Gasol at the center. You don't even have to really have a huge center like Andrew Bynum, but I don't want to, dismiss Andrew Bynum's input, because, he was at one point close to Brooke Lopez as well as the White Hire. But in conclusion, man, I just want to tell y'all, please subscribe to these YouTubers. DJ's Raw and Uncut Truth. Welcome to HDTV, to Raw for TV, C Pen for the win, and my guy, Face PC Gaming, man. When y'all get a chance, man, check out some of that guy's videos, man, where he puts the music along with the athletes of yesteryear and the ones even that's rocking now. I'm your boy who did it this time. I'm out. Peace.